Hello and welcome to another business English lesson. Today is May 26th, Tuesday. We are going to go into category D, the last category of these four categories. The topic is idea disagreement, and D1 specifically is technical disagreement. So today's core skill is on how to push back on something like a specific technical decision in a professional way. As a reminder, we have 16 lessons total, 4 lessons per category. Today's formula is ACTA. And by the way, when I'm looking down, it's because I'm looking down on the lesson itinerary if I am checking something, just to let you guys know in advance. You guys have my full attention. So ACTA, what does that stand for? It stands for acknowledgement, concern, trade-off, and alternative. So the key here, when I give you guys these scaffolds, it's not to restrict you. It's instead giving you a foundation so that you are allowed to be more creative, so you have the permission to speak more freely. So this is the core formula for today: acknowledgement, concern, trade-off, and alternative. And we're gonna do a little warm-up. And typically for my business English classes, there are 40 minutes, they're 50 minutes long, and there are 40 minutes based on the topic of the day, for instance, technical disagreement, and then about 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes on a warm-up exercise. So today it's professional adjectives or words to describe you. When you are presenting yourself in the professional realm, you have a professional personality, and every personality is a part of you, but your professional personality is how you present yourself in professional settings such as work, meetings, job interviews. So go ahead and take a look. I'll give you about 60 seconds and tell me which one of these best describe you. Give me like 5. And this was actually the homework for my student that night, and now we're going to practice. So for instance, I'll take off my teacher hat, I'll put on my interviewer hat, and I'll say, why should we hire you? And I will encourage my student to pick 2 vocabulary words and give an example for each one. And that could be the first exercise. And I will be listening the first round, and then the second round I will give hints such as if something is too general, if an answer is not specific enough. That's really important. Like, you don't want to just say I'm a team player. You want to give a specific example of why you're a team player. By the way, team player is a bit outdated in my opinion in 2026, so choose a different word. And round 3 is when I challenge my student to put it into one simple sentence. Here's the thing. It's actually more difficult to say less. Again, it is more difficult to say less. And then I will give them some corrections if needed. So now we will jump into our focus language for today. Okay. Each class there is focus language, and focus language can be seen as something that you use, some phrases that you use for specific categories, specific scenarios. So for today, with technical disagreement, here are 3 phrases that will be very helpful for you to use. First, we have 1, concern with this approach is. One concern with this approach is. Next, this implementation may introduce trade-offs in. Another option we could consider is ... So here we have 3 sentences, and let's first say them together. I say, you repeat, and then we'll discuss why they are fantastic. Number 1, one concern with this approach is. One concern with this approach is. Next, this implementation may introduce trade-offs in. This implementation may introduce trade-offs in. Finally, another option we could consider is. Another option we could consider is. Okay, great, fantastic. So why are they fantastic focus language? Because they're not emotional, they're systematic language. So for example, one concern with this approach, you're pointing out what you are concerned about, what you're worried about, instead of saying your approach is wrong. There's a problem with your approach. Next, introduce trade-offs. You are bringing it up what can and may be sacrificed, unfortunately, if they take it in a certain direction. You're not specifically saying, okay, you're going to lose this. Lastly, another option we could consider is consider. You can consider anything. We could consider. So it's light. It conveys your idea without getting blamed if it doesn't go the way you plan. Okay, next we're going to do some formula exercises. So remember when we did the ACTA? We're going to use this formula. Let me take this. And we're going to practice disagreeing professionally. So I want you to use this approach of acknowledgement, concern, trade-off, and then do an exercise. Disagree. You can choose the topic that you would like and use that formula. Let me give you 60 seconds. Okay, and then I'll give some feedback to what they said, making sure that they used some of the focus language, making sure that the grammar is correct. Although my concern is much more on the focus language than the grammar, at this point I just want to encourage them to speak. This is a student heavy speaking session. Next, I will give them some scenarios. Possible scenarios can be, for example, skip testing to launch faster. It can be use only one developer. Maybe no user feedback. So we will go one by one where these are some of the issues and I want them to use this model, such as I see the value, or one concern, and then this creates the trade-off, and then another option, like I want to hear this focus language, this formula being used over and over again. I want the formula to be memorized and imprinted in their mind so that when a real life scenario happens, all they have to do is just plug and play. Okay. Here's some things to be aware of. A lot of the times my students forget to, or simply does not think it's as important to talk about the consequences. But the consequences are very important. So the consequences is equal impact. I want you to talk about what is the impact of this. What is the concern you have regarding the impact of this decision? Okay, now I'm looking at my lesson itinerary, and we're going to practice some more. So in a pressure round, what this means is, as I listen to you explain to me with the formula of ACTA, first I'll listen, and then I'll interrupt you, and then I'll say faster, and then I will say something like, we don't have time. Like, if you're saying we need more time, I don't have time, we don't have time. So I will continuously build up the difficulty, and it will encourage you to challenge yourself and strengthen where you stand. And I would say something like, we already decided, it's just things that's not very nice, but totally realistic. Okay, so you will learn how to adapt, right? You cannot memorize word for word, but adapting to different scenarios, that's what we're looking for here. So finally, why are you pushing back? This is a question that the manager might ask you, and you're going to say your reason. You're going to state the reason in a non-emotional way. You're going to reflect back at the end of the lesson. We often reflect at the end of the lesson to see what we took from the lesson, which phrases are professional, and which phrases sound the most natural to you. By the end of this lesson, you will not only know the formula, you will know more vocabulary from this first warm-up exercise as well as the focused language exercise. And finally, you will gain the real skill of handling pressure when we did the pressure round. So that is a wrap for today's lesson. I hope you guys enjoy it. You have 3 more left in this course. Completely free, what can I say? Have a good rest of the day. See you guys in the next video. Bye.